I've tried to record this a couple of times, but I keep forgetting things each time I do it, and I want to try and create like a reference. So I want to try and get it all in, keep it keep it quick without umming and erring my way through the entire thing and sounding like a fool, and just get the important information in as quick amount of time as possible. Right. Right. So something that's interesting to know is beyond having the base damage that you do to an enemy, and beyond having the base weak spot damage that you would do to the enemy, there are some important things to know about the weapons and about the accessories and about all of the attachments that you can use. And I'm going to try and remember it all in one go, and I'm going to try and show you two things that I think might make a decent run. So if I can do it really, really quickly, that's the goal. So I'm going to try and speed through it. Right. So each bullet does a bit of a slot of damage. Each bit of weak spot damage does a bit of weak spot damage. You would assume if you do if with a melee weapon, that would also do a bit of its own damage. And obviously, you're right. And something that's interesting about the weapons is the fire axe goes down this way, but something like Holly's bat goes horizontally. This one goes vertically, and the claws even move in a different way as well. So they've all got different attributes. They've all got different attributes, including the shotgun, which you would think, okay, so if it's one bullet, right? One bullet on the shotgun, one bullet, one damage. One cartridge, one damage? No, lots of damage per shotgun pelt. I suppose it makes sense because you can see there's all the different part of the scatter shot comes out, and so that kind of makes sense. And two things, this affects how you hit enemies. So if I go like slightly there, right, only two or one of the buckshots are hitting. Only only two slices of damage, but you can see there's 17.8% there, not 17.8%, but 17.8 base damage alongside all the other minor other bullets, 8.8 damage, right? Okay, fine. Weapon attachments are really going to be important because they, I've been focusing on this bottom bit here, like this one, handling. If I stick that one on, but it doesn't just do, it's not handling like how fast I can move around or even, but it's also how quickly I can scope in. So and something like this, all right, the fast mag, it's adding 30% reload speed, but something the game doesn't tell you about. If I just choose a pump action shotgun, and you'll see this in one of my builds later, it's really, really glaringly obvious. But if I just shoot it as quickly as possible, I can only shoot it so fast, right? Now, you'd think that a fast mag would make it only reload faster, but that's not true. It actually makes firing it faster because it includes racking the bolt, the pump, as it's as part of the reload speed. Because I guess technically you're pumping a cartridge into the gun, you're technically loading and reloading it by racking the bolt in, and that's the same with the sniper rifle as well. When you shoot, rack the bolt. Shoot, rack the bolt, and then if you go with a faster attachment, you heard it's slightly higher pitched. Of course, didn't do it there. Slightly higher pitched, slightly faster. And these things compound later on with other perks that you use. Obviously, so far so obvious, I'm not blowing your world here away. That's obvious. I thought the shotgun was kind of interesting and something that I'm going to base, if I haven't already, base some of my decks with. So what I was saying about the base damage and the weak spot damage is going to be the interesting thing that I want to focus on. Then I'm going to show you something about the weapon attachments and the way we should play. So I'm going to bump up my I'll do my shotgun one first so I can show you that and show you the attachments, and then show you how I think we're going to blast through levels. So with my shotgun build, this one involves not moving very fast. we're crouching because we're not hurting anybody in front. Massive accuracy bonus, and the reason why that's going to become important is going to be very obvious in a minute. I've loaded up Shredder because this is the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about with the damage. When you have, there are some cards that apparently they don't just add together. Like, we've been looking at it like this. Oh, this does weak spot damage, so I'm going to have 50% additional to the weak spot damage, and then I'm going to add another 30% weak spot damage if I was using these two cards together. So I'm adding 80%. I'm not. So what's the maths for that? If I use my gun, if I use my pistol, and I'm talking weak spot damage, I will say what's the quick maths? Quick maths. You'll be better at this than me. I'm supposed to be right. Look, 34 weak spot damage. So if I add 50% of weak spot damage to that, that's what? Add 17. So that's 40, 50, 52 ish. But if I add 80%. What would that be? What's all right? 34. So if I have 34 and I multiply that by 1.8, 80, that's 61.2. I don't know if that's obvious or not, and I don't know if it's going to give a different number to whether or not you do add 50 or add 30 again. I wouldn't assume it would, but look. The interesting thing is that not all cards work like that, and that's kind of, teaching an ant to suck eggs, because, when you're reading the cards, obviously you can see, okay, there's a difference between stamina and stamina regen. There's a difference between move speed and sprint speed. Obvious, right? But it is more, it's more detailed. It's literally more detailed than that. So these ones are, weak spot. And you might have like Glass Camera, which is plus 25 damage, 25% damage plus. But when I'm adding the 25% damage, I'm only doing it to the base of what I would do as if I was hitting the zombie in not a weak spot. It doesn't care that I've got these ones hitting the weak spot. What the weak spot is, it seems to be that the weak spot is calculating a different damage pool to if I had this on. And so, my gun is hitting 22 damage base and then having the 25% damage. It doesn't therefore go, oh, right, so the weak spot damage is going to be the base damage plus the 25% damage there, and then add this 50% damage onto the base damage plus that 25% damage. It seems not to care. It seems to be two different damage pools. So what we've been doing is we might have been adding in together a load of cards that are very much like this. Oh, we've got damage, and we've got weak spot damage, and we've got melee damage. Interesting thing about melee damage is that it doesn't care about the difference between melee damage and weak spot damage. It counts them the same. So any card that increases melee damage also increases weak spot damage. And that's not all. Here's the kicker, because there are some cards that do multiply. They are multipliers. They have different categories that the game doesn't explain. And I'm looking at the cards, I don't see a similarity. In fact, actually, I do. You see these white things on the top left? I think that's it. I think these are multipliers and not adders, if that makes sense. I think anything that's got a white thing on the top left, and this is my own guess, and I don't know, and I can't. The only reason I say that is because I can't imagine that it is any use for something like Shredder being a multiplying card, because 1 times 1 is still 1, and 1 times 1 15 times is still 1. So I think this one adds together. So eventually you're stacking up to 15%, but something like this one, Patient Hunter, every 0.75 seconds that you aim down the sights increases your bullet damage by 10% up to 3 stacks. I think a stack is a multiplier. I think that's doing 10% times 10% times 10%, not 10% plus 10% plus 10%, if that makes sense. So the way that you read the cards is much more important than we thought it was in the first place. Then you've got the cleaners, and the cleaners have their own stacks, which are multipliers as far as I can ascertain. So Jim, he's not just adding 10% weak spot damage, he's multiplying your deck, your damage that you do, and multiplying it by 10. I think. I'm not sure. I think. From what I've been able to work out. And then, right, okay, now this is going to be really, really important. So, when we come to play, this is how I think we should do it. No. This is how I think we should do it. So if I jump on with Nightmare, Act 1, I'm going to show the shotgun one first, because that's interesting. And then I'm going to show you how mad the melee build is. Right. So with a shotgun, it might be worth me jumping on as Tala for this one, even though I prefer to be the melee, because honestly, the amount of blood and guts is ridiculous in the melee. But something like this, or in fact, actually, I might even go Mom, because Mom has a Belgian, and the Belgian, with everything that I explained about the reload speed, makes Mom's Belgian ridiculous. And I'm going to show you. Don't need bird cards. Right. So. Super quick. Like now, all of these pellets are now hitting a really small area, but because I've got the hunker down and the what's it in front, look, I've got a fucking laser. Boom. Everything, all of the bullet multipliers that I've got going on in each of these pellets is now a laser. And I can shoot this ridiculously quickly. And this is just a single shot, single reload weapon. And I can keep doing that indefinitely until I run out of bullets. Now, the way these work, and which is, and there are perks for money, which could be really important. These upgrade the items that you see in. So these are all white, these are all base, and this is what we've been using all the way into the deep act of the deep parts of Act 1 and struggling with. But when I played one of my when I went on one of my playthroughs, I was dumping money into the quality of everything. So with these, you've got white standard stuff. This is temporary health. But later on, when you get a green version, purple version, it's not only doing additional temporary health, it's lasting longer, it's giving you damage resistance, and any perks that you have with your medic is going to compound that even further. You can jump in with the quick slots, which give you more slot accessories, which is really useful to have, and then you can start dumping stuff on your guns, which is going to add, right, so this adds mobility, and these are basic attachments. So it's always a good idea to keep an eye on the attachments and keep an eye on your money, so that not only can you get this, but you can get this. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. That matters a little bit. These two are the important ones. These two are really important. Okay. So, with this shotgun build, what I intend to do, and something that I'm going to show you that is really important to do when you're playing and you've got to get used to, is, right, so we can draw enemies. And we knew that already. That's obvious, we can do that. But when you're playing, you need to get used to punching. And it's really important. Because if I'm shooting a regular gun, right, and I shoot through all of my gun like this, watch this, watch what happens. So I can go like that, and I can punch away, and I'm still reloading. And I'm still reloading. You see that number change? I can punch, reload, punch, and look what punching does as well. Okay, maybe not on him. Let's find a common one. It staggers it, pushes it away. Do you see that? There's stagger damage in the game that we didn't even think about. Right, okay. So here's the meat and potatoes of my strategy. What's going to happen is you're going to have a shotgunner. Shotgun surgeon. And with all the increased, I'm not playing this very well. It doesn't matter right now because I'm just showing you a point. This person is going to move behind the person with the melee stuff, and the melee person is going to be the horde control, and this person is going to be dealing with the weak spots of the larger enemies.
Let's hustle, people. Intel here.
It's something I read about, but it doesn't ever seem to work. If you draw them in, they should start attacking these security doors and open them eventually, but maybe they patched it out. Anyway, so with this, I can't hurt anyone in front of me. I've got mad bullet penetration. It's going through all of the hordes, so I can sit at the back. All right. Okay. So if you've got a horde coming in on you, we need to get used to doing this and doing this. You can push zombies away from you if you're... you can push them away, buy yourself space. And all of these area of effect hazards... Look how easy. 1 hit, 2 hits. Down.
What's up with that? Intel here. Time to smoke.
Right, okay. So that's one thing. So that's my first part that I reckon. Sitting behind somebody doing massive damage. Meanwhile, you're gonna love this.
Great.
Meanwhile, I want to run in the front. And I got insanely far just by doing this until I got bounced off the side of the map and I had no one to revive me. And in fact, actually, Charisse is really good for this because she gets plus 25% bolstered health, which is another effect that it's whatever. But she's got plus 25 trauma resistance. But just to show you, because you don't have the DLC, I'm jumping this with all of my trauma resistance, with all of my additional padding, method, and some of my other perks which bolster melee damage. Watch this. Watch.
I said their perimeter was weak, but did they listen?
Bop. Bop.
You should be used to people not
Bop.
listening to you
Bop.
by now.
Over 2. This is Hope 1. Do you copy?
Look, I get faster, faster, and faster, and faster. And I turn everything into mincemeat. I haven't started shooting yet, which is why I haven't got necessarily a horde on me. But I can turn the snitch into mincemeat before it does anything. This is where I get into trouble, unless I have a stun gun or another book that was going to help that. And I can cause absolute havoc. And because every melee kill that I performs a little bit of healing, and because I've got perks that bolster damage resistance when I have temporary health, and because every hit creates temporary health, and because I can just sit. As long as I keep my role being keeping the team safe, and I can run in.
We're not immune for nothing.
And I don't run out of stamina. I do initially, but look, watch this. Oops. Watch this. The more I swing and the more I hit people, my stamina just stays up. I am leaving my team behind there though, because I'm trying to find a... Yeah, but, look, I'm no YouTuber, right? I can just literally do this. And so, yeah, okay. So I'm losing the plot a little bit. I've left my team behind, and the swarms with them. But the point being, I can swing indefinitely. I can run in. I can deal with everything like I'm cutting through paper. bang, bang, bang. And look, I'm still at full health. I'm still at full health. And those things at the bottom, like I said before, I don't think they add, I think they multiply. So I think that every time I do this, I can walk through everything like it's nothing. Anyway, I reckon this leading the front, leading the charge. See, this is where my weakness is. I have no help unless somebody shoots me. Unless shoots off. Then I can get back into the game. So this is why this class needs backup, but it is largely crowd control. And even though I suffered there's a tall boy there. Sucks to be you today, buddy. And I actually regained more health than I did than I lost fighting it. What's up, dude? Bye. This is the weakness of this class, though. I get bounced around like no tomorrow. Which is why I would need the backup of a powerful sniper class. Or I've got another idea for another class, which might be better because every time you go down, you drop a pipe bomb. But look, I literally lost 2 health and I've hit the end of the level.
Shut the door!
Easy peasy.